The courtroom had seen arrogance before, but never the kind that rolled in wearing designer loafers, a $4,000 jacket, and a diamond watch that probably cost more than most people's yearly salaries. 18-year-old Tyler Harrington strutted into Judge Judy's courtroom like it was a private runway show designed exclusively to showcase his wealth. He didn't look nervous. He didn't even look aware of where he was. He looked amused, as if this entire courtroom, and the people inside it, existed solely to entertain him. Across from him sat the plaintiff, 63-year-old school janitor Raymond Ellis, a quiet man who had spent his career sweeping hallways, polishing floors, and taking extra shifts to send his daughter to college. His hands were trembling around a folder of documents, but not from fear. It was anger, the kind that builds slowly after months of humiliation, disrespect, and loss. This case wasn't about money. It wasn't even about the destroyed car Tyler refused to take responsibility for. It was about something deeper, something uglier: what happens when a rich boy grows up believing that wealth grants immunity from consequences. Tyler leaned back in his chair with an exaggerated sigh, loudly asking the bailiff if they could hurry this up, because he had a thing later at the yacht club. He didn't bother to look at Raymond. He didn't acknowledge him. To Tyler, he wasn't a human being. He was a nuisance. Judge Judy hadn't even opened the file yet, but her eyes had already narrowed. Anyone who watched her for more than 5 minutes knew one thing: entitlement was her favorite kind of prey. She began with her signature calm tone, the kind that always appeared seconds before she completely dismantled someone's ego. "Mr. Harrington," she said, "you're being sued for $12,400, damages related to a car accident. Do you understand that?" Tyler smirked. Yeah, whatever. My dad will handle it." Judge Judy raised one eyebrow, that dangerous, legendary eyebrow. Raymond cleared his throat, trying to steady himself, and began explaining the situation. For months, he had parked his old Toyota Corolla in the staff lot of Brookside Private Academy, the expensive school where he worked. One afternoon, he walked outside to find his car sideswiped, the entire left side crushed like a soda can. The security footage clearly showed Tyler speeding through the lot, showing off for friends, losing control, and slamming straight into Raymond's car. Instead of apologizing, Tyler allegedly laughed, saying, "Relax. My dad could buy you a new one." Raymond had reported it to the school, but nothing happened. Tyler's father was the biggest donor. Complaints involving the Harrington family rarely left paper. That's when Raymond filed the claim. Judge Judy listened without interrupting, her expression unchanged, but her silence was louder than words. When she finally turned to Tyler, her voice shifted. "Mr. Harrington, is any part of what Mr. Ellis said untrue?" Tyler shrugged. "Look, I don't know what the janitor thinks he saw, but his car was a piece of junk anyway. My dad literally spends more on landscaping in a week than that thing is worth." The courtroom gasped. Even the bailiff stiffened. Judge Judy leaned forward, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop by 10 degrees. "What did you just say?" Tyler smirked again, as if her question was beneath him. "I mean, come on. His car. It's basically scrap metal. If it matters that much, my dad can buy him a new one. Or 10. Whatever." Raymond's jaw tightened with quiet humiliation. But Tyler wasn't finished. He glanced around the courtroom like an impatient prince trapped among peasants. "Actually," he continued, "my dad can buy this whole courtroom. He could buy you. He could." The moment the words left his mouth, the entire room froze. Judge Judy didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Didn't move. She simply stared at him the way she stared at liars, abusers, scammers, the way she stared at people whose lives she was about to legally rearrange. Her voice came out low, dangerously calm. "Mr. Harrington, your father can buy me?" Tyler nodded proudly. "Yeah. Pretty much." The audience sucked in a collective breath. What Tyler didn't know, what he couldn't possibly understand, was that Judge Judy had already read the pre-show research packet the producers prepared. She already knew about his father's recent legal troubles, the ongoing federal investigation into the Harrington family's shell companies, the rumors of tax evasion, and the pending probe into fraudulent financial reports. And she already knew something else: arrogance this extreme never appears in a vacuum. It has roots. And those roots are usually tangled in something rotten. Judy closed the file slowly, deliberately, as if she were sealing his fate. "Mr. Harrington," she said, "you and I are going to have a very long, very educational conversation today." Tyler rolled his eyes. "Good. Maybe you'll learn something." Judge Judy's smile was thin and lethal. "Oh, trust me," she said, "the only person learning anything today is you." And in that moment, before evidence, before testimony, before any ruling, the audience knew. This wasn't going to be a normal case. This wasn't going to be a simple fine. This was going to be a reckoning. A rich boy who believed the world belonged to him had just insulted the wrong judge. And 30 minutes later, the handcuffs waiting outside the courtroom would prove it. The moment Section 1's shockwave settled, something shifted in the courtroom. The audience leaned forward, sensing that this wasn't a normal spoiled rich kid case. There was a tension forming, the kind that always appears right before Judge Judy finds the thread that unravels an entire lie. And that thread was sitting right in front of her, wearing a $10,000 blazer and smirking as if the world should be grateful he even showed up. Ethan's confidence didn't just grow, it inflated. He sat back with the posture of someone who believed the courtroom was a formality, a small inconvenience before his father fixed everything behind the scenes. He drummed his fingers on the table, as if bored by the legal process, glanced around the room like he was scanning for anyone worth his time, and kept adjusting his designer chain so the cameras would catch its glint. Every inch of his attitude screamed entitlement so loud that even the audience members exchanged looks of disbelief. But what Ethan didn't notice, what he never could have imagined, was the subtle way Judge Judy began rearranging the documents on her desk. To the untrained eye, it looked like normal case preparation. But loyal viewers knew that move. It meant she had found something. Something big. Something dangerous. Something that would make Ethan's "my dad can buy you" comment look like a warm-up. Judy's voice softened, dangerously. "Mr. Carter, you say the car was yours?" Ethan rolled his eyes as if explaining basic math to a toddler. "Yes, Your Honor. My car. My damage. My lawsuit. It's simple." Judy's eyebrow lifted just slightly, that legendary micro-reaction that meant a trap had already been set. Hum. And when did you purchase it?" Ethan blinked. A few months ago." "I don't remember the exact." "You don't remember the exact date of purchasing a $200,000 sports car?" Judy asked, leaning forward. He frowned. "No." Maria's attorney tried to suppress a smile. But Ethan kept digging. "Well, my dad bought it, okay? But it was for me. So technically, it's mine." That was it. A single sentence. But in Judge Judy's courtroom, that was enough to tear open an entire case. Because the courtroom went silent for half a second, and then Judy exhaled slowly, as if she had been waiting for that confession. "So let me understand this," she said, her tone turning razor-sharp. "The car is not in your name." Ethan shifted. "Well, no. And the insurance is not in your name." "No. And the registration is not in your name." His jaw tensed. "It doesn't have to be. My dad handles all that." Judy smiled, not kindly, not approvingly. It was the smile she saved for people who had just walked straight into their own destruction. "Then you," she said, "cannot file a lawsuit for damages to property you do not own." The audience gasped. Ethan's jaw dropped open in disbelief, but Judy raised a hand before he could speak. "Sit down. I'm not done with you." His entitled expression melted into confusion for the first time. Now Judy turned to Maria, gently, respectfully. "Ma'am, please explain in your own words what happened that day." Maria took a shaky breath. "I was parking outside the cafe where I work. He was blocking the entire driveway with his car. When I asked if he could move it a little, he told me, 'You're not worth the gas it would take.' Then he backed up without looking and hit the pole, not me. Not my car. The pole." The courtroom murmured in disgust. Ethan scoffed loudly. "She's exaggerating. She's lying. She walked in front of my car. Honest mistake." "You don't get to talk," Judy snapped, ice in her voice. "Because I'm still speaking." Ethan froze. And that was when Judy dropped the first bombshell, a small one compared to what was coming, but enough to shake Ethan's perfect composure. "Mr. Carter," she said, her voice dangerously calm, "this is not just about property damage. I have reviewed the footage you didn't know I had access to." Everyone, including Ethan, went still. "Footage?" Judy continued. "And what I saw in that footage was a young man who acted with recklessness, entitlement, and complete disregard for public safety." Ethan's face went pale. Because he knew exactly what footage she was referring to. The footage his father had tried, and failed, to conceal. The footage that didn't just show him damaging a pole. It showed him speeding. Nearly hitting two pedestrians. And laughing afterward like it was entertainment. "Your father," Judy said slowly, "tried to prevent this footage from being submitted as evidence. But this is my courtroom. Which means Daddy's money does not control what happens here." A stunned silence fell across the room. Judy leaned forward, eyes locked onto Ethan like laser beams. "And let me tell you something, Mr. Carter. When you walked in here and said, 'My dad can buy you,' you didn't just insult me. You revealed exactly who you are. And now, for the first time in your life, you will face consequences your father cannot shield you from." Ethan swallowed hard. His arrogance cracked, fully, visibly. The audience could feel it. The fall had begun. And by the time Judge Judy finished with him, handcuffs wouldn't be an exaggeration. They would be a certainty. The courtroom's energy shifted the moment Section 3 began. Even the audience could feel it, that tight, electric pressure that always builds right before a spoiled defendant realizes he's not untouchable anymore. Tyler Prescott, the 19-year-old heir whose family controlled real estate numbers with the same arrogance he carried in his designer clothes, still lounged like the world owed him comfort. His chin was lifted, legs stretched, one hand draped over the chair like it belonged to him by birthright. But something in his eyes had changed. The swagger was thinning, replaced by a faint twitch of uncertainty every time Judge Judy spoke. And Judge Judy noticed everything. "Mr. Prescott," she said calmly, flipping through her notes with the deliberate precision of someone assembling a trap brick by brick, "I want to go over your financial statement." Tyler smirked. "What about it?" "It's accurate." Judge Judy raised one eyebrow, the eyebrow that meant someone was about to publicly destroy themselves. "Accurate," she repeated, her voice sharper than glass. "You claimed your monthly expenses exceed $10,000. Tyler shrugged, even proud. "Well yeah, I'm not poor." A wave of disgust moved through the courtroom. Even the bailiff shifted as if he had to physically stop himself from reacting. Judge Judy leaned forward. "Mr. Prescott, you haven't held a job in your life. You don't pay your own bills. You don't buy your own food. You don't even pay for your own gasoline. Your expenses are simply things your father bankrolls." Tyler let out a laugh, the kind people use to hide fear. "So. That's how it works when you're not broke." The audience gasped. Several people shook their heads in disbelief. Judge Judy's face hardened. "Let me tell you something, young man. I've dealt with arrogant defendants for 26 years on this bench. But few have managed to communicate this level of entitlement in such a short amount of time. Tyler dismissed her with a flick of his hand. "Judge, please. My dad's probably richer than half the people in this building combined. This should have been settled before we even walked in. You're wasting your time. And mine." That was the moment everything stopped. The air. The whispers. The sound of someone shifting in their seat. Even Tyler felt it, that invisible shift when the universe decides someone needs a life lesson immediately. Judge Judy didn't raise her voice. She didn't lean forward. She didn't even blink. "Young man," she said quietly, "did you just imply that your father's bank account should influence how justice is applied in this courtroom?" Tyler hesitated. For the first time, his confidence cracked. "I'm just saying," he muttered, "things could be easier for you if you weren't so difficult." "Difficult?" Judge Judy repeated, as if testing the word on her tongue. Tyler nodded. "My dad's very connected, okay? He knows people. Important people. People who could make things inconvenient for you." The courtroom froze. The audience didn't breathe. The bailiff took one step closer to Tyler, not aggressively, but protectively, toward Judy. Judge Judy didn't move. But her tone changed, cold, precise, deadly. "Mr. Prescott, are you threatening a judge?" Tyler's face paled. "No. I'm just saying." "You're implying," Judy cut in sharply, "that because your father has money and influence, I should rule in your favor, overlook your behavior, and ignore your actions." "That's not what I—" "Young man," she interrupted again, "let me be very clear. I do not care who your father is. I do not care how much money your family has. And I do not care who you believe you can make things difficult for." Tyler swallowed, hard. Judge Judy held up a document. "Because what you don't know, is that your father's financial records were subpoenaed this morning." Several audience members clapped involuntarily. Tyler blinked. "Wait, what? Why?" "Because," she said calmly, "your father filed a sworn affidavit claiming he was unaware of your involvement in this case, unaware of your spending, and unaware that you were using his name as a shield." Tyler's jaw dropped open. "And because," she added, tapping the paper, "your father reportedly told investigators that if you've gotten yourself into legal trouble, you will face it alone, as an adult, without his help." A loud wave of whispers spread across the courtroom. Tyler's face drained of color, his confidence dissolving like sugar in boiling water. Judge Judy wasn't done. "Now let's address the vandalism charge. You claim the security footage was manipulated. You claim you were framed. You claim you had no reason to damage the plaintiff's property." Tyler nodded eagerly, thinking this was his moment to recover. "Exactly." Judge Judy held up another document. "Then I'm sure you can explain," she said, "why your phone's GPS places you at the scene at the exact time the damage occurred." Tyler froze. "And why," she continued, "your digital fingerprint is on the payment terminal of the gas station across the street, 3 minutes before the vandalism began." The audience erupted in murmurs. Tyler's breathing grew shallow. His arrogance evaporated. He wasn't wealthy. He wasn't powerful. He was just a frightened teenager who finally realized money wouldn't save him. Judge Judy leaned back. "We're nowhere near finished, Mr. Prescott. But I suggest you prepare yourself. Because 30 minutes from now, you won't leave this courtroom the way you walked in." Tyler's eyes widened, because he finally understood what she meant. And for the first time all day, he looked truly terrified. The atmosphere inside Judge Judy's courtroom had shifted into something far darker than a simple small claims dispute. Everyone could feel it, the tension, the anticipation, the sense that something irreversible was coming. Even Tyler, for all his record-setting arrogance, started showing cracks. His posture stiffened. His carefully calculated smirk flickered. His hands fidgeted with the gold ring on his finger, spinning it faster every time Judge Judy directed another question toward him. Whatever confidence he thought would carry him through this case was draining by the second. Judge Judy leaned back in her chair with deliberate calm, her eyes locked on Tyler like she was watching a slow-motion train wreck she herself had engineered. "Mr. Callahan," she began, "you told this court you weren't responsible for the vandalism. Yet the victim's car suffered over $12,000 in damage, key marks, smashed headlights, ripped mirrors, and a slashed tire. Are you saying all of that happened, by coincidence?" Tyler raised his chin. "Look, stuff happens. People get jealous. I can't control what others do. Everyone knows who I am. They all want something from me." Judy didn't blink. "And you think you're someone worth vandalizing over?" There was a ripple of laughter from the audience. Tyler snapped, "I'm not someone. I'm Tyler Callahan. My dad is." Judge Judy held up her hand. "I do not care if your father is the Emperor of the Moon. What I do care about is whether you're lying to me." For a moment, Tyler genuinely looked lost. Like nobody had ever spoken to him this way in his entire life. His attorney reached forward, whispering, "Stop talking." But Tyler pushed him away with a dramatic flick of his wrist. "No. I'm not going to let some TV judge question me like that." Gasps erupted throughout the courtroom. Judge Judy leaned forward. "Some TV judge?" Even Tyler noticed the air changed this time. But he kept going. "You're acting like I'm some criminal," he scoffed. "But you're not even a real judge anymore. You're entertainment. My dad could buy this whole building." "Wrong. Move. Dead. Center." The entire courtroom froze. Even the cameras seemed to stop humming. Judge Judy spoke so quietly that it made the hairs on Tyler's arms stand up. "Mr. Callahan, the difference between me and your father is simple. I earned everything I have. Your father bought everything you have." Tyler's face flushed scarlet. Judy wasn't done. "You believe money replaces character. That wealth replaces accountability. That privilege replaces responsibility." She paused. "You are mistaken." Tyler leaned back, rolling his eyes, but there was fear in them now. Judge Judy reached to the side and lifted a folder so thick it looked like it could hold a college textbook. "You see, Mr. Callahan, while you were busy boasting about your father's empire, my team was busy doing research of our own." Tyler's jaw dropped. "Research? On what?" Judy opened the file. "On you." His attorney immediately tried to intervene. "Your Honor, I object." She didn't even look at him. "Overruled. Sit down. And tell your client to stop speaking unless spoken to. He's already made enough damaging statements to fill a textbook." The lawyer sat like a scolded child. Tyler swallowed hard. For the first time, he stayed silent. Judge Judy flipped a page. "Let's start with the speeding tickets. 8 in 14 months. All dismissed after your father's legal team handled it." Tyler's mouth tightened. Another page. "Vandalism complaint from Riverfront Mall. Settled privately." He shifted in his chair. Another page. "Underage drinking incident. Expunged." He looked away. Another page. "2 allegations of assault at school, dropped by parents after the donations were given." The audience murmured in disgust. Judy kept going. "Multiple noise complaints. Threats made to neighbors. Reckless driving near school zones. And my personal favorite, this little gem." She held up a photograph. "You posing with spray cans the night before the victim's car was vandalized." Tyler's body jerked. That's just a picture," he stammered. "It's not proof." "Oh, but this is." Judy pulled out another sheet. "Security footage showing someone matching your exact appearance, wearing your exact jacket, exiting a car registered to your father's company less than 2 minutes before the vandalism. Tyler's attorney visibly deflated. Judy wasn't done. And this, she said, lifting the most devastating piece of all, is a text message your friend sent bragging about what you did. He turned it over voluntarily. Tyler's face turned ghost white. You can't do this, he stuttered. My father, he'll destroy you. Judge Judy leaned in so slowly, so deliberately, the entire courtroom collectively held its breath. Mr. Callahan, she said with lethal calm, I am not afraid of your father. I am not impressed by your money. And I am certainly not intimidated by a boy who has spent his entire life avoiding consequences. She dropped the file onto her desk with a heavy thud. But consequences, she said, have finally found you. The court officer beside Tyler straightened. Tyler's breathing grew fast and shallow. Judge Judy folded her hands. My ruling will be delivered shortly. But first, Mr. Callahan, I suggest you prepare yourself. Tyler whispered, for what? Judy looked him dead in the eyes. For the first real consequence of your life. The courtroom was dead silent as the clock ticked past the 30-minute mark, the exact moment everything changed for Liam Harrington, the rich boy who thought money made him invincible. His fake confidence had cracked in Section 4, but now the cracks began to split open completely. His leg bounced uncontrollably. His breathing grew shallow. His eyes darted from the bailiff to Judge Judy, finally sensing that something irreversible was unfolding. But it was too late. Judge Judy closed the last folder on her desk with a soft thud that somehow echoed like an earthquake through the courtroom. She leaned forward, elbows on the bench, her voice sharp enough to slice through Liam's final thread of entitlement. Mr. Harrington, your father may be able to buy a lot of things. But he cannot buy me, he cannot buy this courtroom, and he certainly cannot buy consequences. Liam swallowed hard. Your Honor. Don't speak, she snapped, raising a hand. You've spoken more than enough today. The audience shifted, sensing the shift from humiliation to punishment. This wasn't the part where the judge just delivered a ruling. This was the part where the rich boy who lived his whole life above the law would finally meet the one person who didn't care who his daddy was. Judge Judy lifted a document. Your actions today go beyond disrespect. They go beyond arrogance. They go beyond entitlement. She tapped the paper. You gave this court fraudulent documents, Mr. Harrington. Liam blinked rapidly. No, I didn't. Stop talking. Her tone could have frozen fire. Your father's legal team submitted an altered income statement in an attempt to manipulate this court. And your little comment about your father buying me? That just confirmed what this pattern shows, that you believe the rules don't apply to you. A gasp rippled through the audience. Fraud. That wasn't a slap-on-the-wrist offense. That was real trouble. Real handcuffs. Real consequences for the first time in this boy's life. Liam's bravado shattered. Your Honor, please, I didn't know they were altered. I swear. My dad. Oh, now you want to blame your father, she cut in. Funny. 5 minutes ago you were bragging that he could buy me. Now suddenly you're the innocent little boy who didn't know anything. Liam's mouth hung open helplessly. Judge Judy stood, and the entire room instinctively straightened. She rarely stood. When she did, it meant someone was about to get a life lesson carved into their soul. For 18 years, you've been shielded from consequences. Expelled from 2 private schools, covered up. 3 reckless driving citations, covered up. 2 cases of vandalism, covered up. Every time you messed up, someone with money swooped in to make it disappear. She pointed directly at him. Well, it stops today. Liam shook his head as if trying to wake up from a nightmare. This court will not let your father's money protect you from accountability. Judge Judy turned to the bailiff. Officer Grant, place Mr. Harrington in custody for contempt of court and for presenting fraudulent documentation. The courtroom erupted in gasps. What? No, no, you can't arrest me. Liam shouted, stumbling backward as the bailiff stepped forward. Yes, I can, Judy said calmly. And I just did. The bailiff grabbed Liam's wrists. The boy jerked, panicked, but it was useless. The sound of metal cuffs clicking around his wrists echoed like justice itself. His face twisted, not in anger, not in arrogance, but in pure disbelief. This is insane. My father will. Judge Judy cut him off cold. Your father will learn the same lesson you will today: money is not power. Integrity is power. Character is power. Truth is power. The audience spontaneously applauded. They couldn't help it. They had just witnessed something rare, a judge standing up to a family who thought laws existed only for other people. Liam's voice cracked as he pleaded, "Please, I didn't mean it, I didn't mean any of it, I was just angry." Judy's voice softened, but only slightly. "I don't doubt that you're emotional now. But consequences don't disappear just because you're scared of them." She turned to the plaintiff, Mrs. Alvarez, the hard-working schoolteacher he had mocked earlier. "Mrs. Alvarez, you are awarded $15,000 in damages, plus legal fees. You are also granted a restraining order effective immediately." Tears streamed down Mrs. Alvarez's face as she whispered, "Thank you, Your Honor." Judge Judy nodded. "You deserve respect. Not harassment. Not intimidation. Not entitlement." Liam was escorted toward the exit, wrists bound, face pale. As he passed the bench, Judge Judy delivered her final blow. "Mr. Harrington." He turned, eyes trembling. "You told me your father could buy me. Remember this moment every time you think money will protect you." The bailiff pushed the door open. "Because at the end of the day, the only thing your father's money bought you today, was a pair of handcuffs." The door shut behind him, and the audience rose in a standing ovation. The entire courtroom felt cleansed, as if justice itself had taken a deep, satisfying breath.